The world of women's basketball has seen many rivalries over the years, but few have captured the public's attention quite like the ongoing saga between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. What started as a fierce college basketball rivalry between LSU's Reese and Iowa's Clark has now evolved into a WNBA headline-grabbing competition. Their matchups have drawn fans in droves, helped elevate the WNBA, and sparked important conversations about race, sportsmanship, and the pressures of being a high-profile athlete. Reese and Clark, who were both drafted into the WNBA in 2024, are two of the brightest stars in the league. While their rivalry on the court is undeniable, off the court, the dynamics between the two are equally fascinating. Reese has spoken openly about the challenges she's faced, including the racism she has encountered from Clark's fan base. Meanwhile, Clark has consistently downplayed any personal rivalry, focusing instead on advancing women's basketball as a whole. This rivalry has helped push the WNBA into the mainstream consciousness, but it has also revealed the darker side of fandom and the unique challenges faced by women athletes. Let's take a deep dive into this fascinating rivalry, exploring the history, the highs and lows, and how Reese and Clark's competition is shaping the future of the sport. A rivalry born in college. The seeds of this rivalry were planted long before Reese and Clark entered the WNBA. The two have been competing against each other since their high school days, but it was during their college years that their rivalry truly took center stage. Reese, who played for Louisiana State University, LSU, and Clark, the star of the Iowa Hawkeyes, dominated the NCAA women's basketball scene. Their most famous encounter came in the 2023 NCAA championship game. Reese's LSU Tigers faced off against Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes in a matchup that had been highly anticipated throughout the season. Both players were at the top of their game, and the intensity of the matchup did not disappoint. Reese's LSU ultimately triumphed, but it was an on-court gesture after the game that made headlines. Reese mimicked Clark's signature "you can't see me" gesture, a moment that was widely interpreted as a taunt directed at her rival. The incident sparked immediate debate on social media, with opinions split over whether Reese's gesture was playful or unsportsmanlike. Some hailed Reese's competitive spirit, while others condemned her actions. The racial dynamics of the situation were also heavily discussed, with many pointing out that Clark had made similar gestures in the past without facing the same level of scrutiny. Reese, a black woman, was being called out for behavior that, when done by a white athlete like Clark, had been praised as part of the game. Angel Reese speaks out on racism and harassment. In her new podcast, Unapologetically Angel, Reese opened up about her rivalry with Clark and the darker side of being a high-profile athlete. While Reese was quick to praise Clark's abilities, calling her an amazing player, she also revealed the toll that the rivalry has taken on her personally, particularly when it comes to the treatment she has received from some of Clark's fan base. Reese shared that some of Clark's fans have crossed the line from simple rivalry into outright racism. "There is a lot of racism when it comes to it," Reese said. While she clarified that she doesn't believe Clark endorses such behavior, she pointed out that some fans take their support for Clark too far, attacking her with racially charged language and harassment. Reese's comments have shed light on the ugly side of sports fandom, where the intensity of competition can sometimes devolve into personal attacks and hate. But the harassment hasn't been limited to just words. Reese also revealed that some fans have gone as far as to create AI-generated nude images of her, which were sent to her family members. She described the experience as horrifying and expressed frustration that female athletes are often subjected to this type of invasive harassment. Despite the challenges, Reese remains focused on the game, emphasizing that while she and Clark are fierce competitors, there is no hate between them. Caitlin Clark's response: downplaying the rivalry. On the other side of the rivalry, Caitlin Clark has taken a more pragmatic approach to the situation. In various interviews, Clark has downplayed any personal animosity between herself and Reese. "I'm pretty sure that the only people who view this as a rivalry is all of you," Clark said in a June 2024 interview with the media. For Clark, the focus remains on basketball and moving the game forward. Clark's comments reflect her desire to keep the conversation centered on the sport, rather than any personal drama. She has acknowledged that the media and fans may enjoy framing her relationship with Reese as a rivalry, but for her, it's simply part of the game. If it's going to help move the game forward, then absolutely, that's amazing, Clark said. Her stance emphasizes her focus on growing the WNBA and advancing women's sports as a whole. While Clark's more diplomatic approach may contrast with Reese's candidness, both players share a common goal: to elevate the game of women's basketball and inspire the next generation of athletes. Their competition on the court may be fierce, but off the court, both players are committed to advancing the sport and breaking down barriers. The impact of the rivalry on the WNBA. There's no denying that the Reese-Clark rivalry has been a boon for the WNBA. Since being drafted in 2024, both players have brought a new level of excitement to the league. Clark, who was the first overall pick by the Indiana Fever, and Reese, who joined the Chicago Sky, have continued their fierce competition, drawing in new fans and increasing viewership. Their matchups in the WNBA have been must-see events, with fans eager to see how their rivalry plays out in the professional league. The Fever, led by Clark, have already secured a spot in the playoffs, while Reese's Sky have struggled, losing 7 straight games. Despite their differing team fortunes, the Reese-Clark rivalry remains one of the hottest storylines in the league. Beyond the court, the rivalry has sparked important conversations about race, gender, and the unique pressures faced by women athletes. Reese's willingness to speak out about the harassment and racism she has faced has brought attention to the systemic issues that still plague women's sports. Meanwhile, Clark's focus on advancing the game shows that both players are using their platforms to make a positive impact. A glimpse into the future. What's next for Reese and Clark? As of September 2024, the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark shows no signs of slowing down. Both players are still in the early stages of their WNBA careers, and their future matchups will likely continue to draw significant attention. While their rivalry has brought new fans to the game, it has also raised important questions about how female athletes are treated compared to their male counterparts. For Reese, the challenges of being a black woman in the spotlight have been particularly acute. Her experiences with racism and harassment are a reminder that there is still much work to be done in creating an equitable and supportive environment for women athletes. However, her resilience and willingness to speak out have made her a powerful voice in the fight for equality in sports. Clark, on the other hand, continues to focus on the game itself, determined to let her skills on the court speak for her. Her ability to stay level-headed amidst the media frenzy and fan speculation is a testament to her professionalism and dedication to the sport. As the WNBA continues to grow, the Reese-Clark rivalry will remain a key storyline, drawing in fans and elevating the league to new heights. Both players are trailblazers in their own right, and their rivalry is not just about basketball. It's about pushing boundaries, challenging stereotypes, and inspiring the next generation of women athletes. Conclusion: a rivalry for the ages. The rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is more than just a competition between two talented athletes. It's a reflection of broader societal issues, from racism and harassment to gender equality in sports. While their on-court battles are thrilling, the off-court dynamics of their rivalry have sparked important conversations about the pressures faced by women athletes, particularly women of color. As they continue to compete at the highest levels of the WNBA, Reese and Clark will undoubtedly remain in the spotlight, not just for their incredible skills, but for the larger cultural conversations they are helping to shape. Their rivalry, though intense, is ultimately a positive force for the game, driving interest in women's basketball and pushing the sport into new territory. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark rivalry, be sure to like and subscribe for more updates on the world of sports. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.